This video is on the order of operations. And you may have heard those, and you should have heard those way back since like 3rd or 4th grade. And it seems like it's no big deal, but it turns out to be the critical foundation of all mathematics. If you don't have your order of operations right, then you're not going to get problems right. Look at the example below. You have 2 kids solving a math problem. Take a minute and look at the 2 ways they're both solving it and decide who's right. Pause the video. Student 1 added the 3 plus 4 first and then multiplied it by 2 to get an answer of 14. Student 2 decided to multiply first and then add. So the 4 times 2 resulted in 8, and then they added and got 3. Now the correct answer for this situation is the way student 2 did it. She used the order of operations. The order of operations weren't really invented, they just kind of worked out over time. Before mathematical notation existed in terms of all these numbers and symbols, people talked about math. And it was kind of discovered or not argued that multiplication came before addition did. There are other rules for the order of operations that you need to memorize and use well. And here they are. This is the order in which you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. First off, you need to do everything inside of parentheses first, or any kind of grouping symbol, okay? So parentheses are considered grouping symbols. You may also see brackets, and that's okay. And believe it or not, that division bar, when you're dividing, that is considered a grouping symbol. Second, after you've done everything inside parentheses, you're going to do exponents. Things like x squared or 2 squared. Then you're going to multiply. But you need to understand that you're going to multiply and divide from left to right, the way you read. If you forget this, you're going to get problems wrong. And finally, you're going to add or subtract, and that also is from left to right. So subtraction could definitely come before addition if it was most left. Let's do this example below. Oh, I should go back and say that a lot of you have memorized little little acronyms. One was, I believe, PEMDAS. The thing with PEMDAS is you need to write your multiplication and division as equivalent and from left to right. And that sometimes people think of, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which I still do to this day, so go for it. All right, let's do this example below. Let's decide what we have here. We have parentheses and some grouping symbols, so we're going to have to work inside of there first. And I want you to write every step out. Rewrite it, but simplified. So we know 3 plus 4 is 7. Minus 2 times 8. Okay? So check. We did everything inside parentheses. Next, we need to check for exponents. And we don't have any, so we can skip that step. Now we need to multiply or divide from left to right. So I'm going to multiply the 5 times 7 and get my 35. And at the same time, you can multiply right away your 2 times 8 and you can get your 16. And now we can simplify 35 minus 16, and that is simply 19. I'm writing in all these different colors. I apologize. So this big mess up here, using the order of operations, can simplify just to the number 19. I'm going to walk through these 6 and do them. If you feel very confident in your order of operations, feel free to work ahead of me or along with me and just use it to check your answers. So I'm going to write down my little guide again, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. In this first example, I'm forced to do the multiplication first. So 9 times 6 is 54. And then when I add them, I get 59. Again, it's really important to show each of the steps as you simplify so that if you make a mistake, we can find it. Number 2, I don't have any parentheses, I don't have any exponents, but I do have a division, so that is where I need to do my operation first. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. and I have this new expression. Then moving from left to right, because I have addition and subtraction, I'm going to do the 8 plus 2 first, which is 10 minus 3, and now simplify that to 7. Number 3. I have no parentheses, but I do have an exponent, so I have to do that first. And 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Now I need to multiply. 9 times 5 is 45. And 45 minus 13 is 32. This next one looks like fun. I have parentheses and exponents. And when you have parentheses, you still have to do them first, and then you follow the order of operations within those parentheses. So I need to do 2 to the 4th power and 3 to the 2nd power. Well, I know 3 to the 2nd power is 9, and 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2 is 8, and times another 2 is 16. And those stay in the parentheses until I'm done simplifying it. So I'm going to rewrite everything else, and then whoops, I see another exponent. I can do that right now because I'm just simplifying it. So 5 squared is 25. And this is division. I almost made that mistake there. Alright, so now back to the parentheses. I need to simplify within there, and I'll just rewrite this down. And there I have 16 plus 9. And 16 plus 9 is 25. So now back to my order of operations. I have division here, so I have to do that before the subtraction. 25 divided by 25 is just 1. So I end up with 17 minus 1, and when you simplify that, you get 16 for a final answer. Almost done. Number 5, I have 2 sets of parentheses. So I'm just going to work within each of those sets first. And I have 9 plus 2, which is 11. Again, the parentheses can go away now because I have simplified it as far as I can go. And then I have 8 minus 4, which is just 4. And now I will do the multiplication. So 11 times 4 is 44. Next one is one we see often where we have 2 sets of grouping symbols. So the rule for that is you start with the innermost set of grouping symbols and simplify that first. So I will do my 3 plus 2, which is 5. This is a multiplication here. You can either use the times sign or parentheses. It doesn't matter. And I'm just going to write everything else around it. So all I did was add 3 plus 2. Now I will multiply the 4 times 5, which is your 20. And your parentheses go away. It doesn't matter if you keep them, though. You'll be fine. And you're left with 20 minus 20 with an end result of 0. All right, let's have you try these order of operations problems. Pause the video now. And here are those answers. Go ahead and look through them. Number 6 was pretty straightforward. Again, number 7, you need to add inside the parentheses first and then square it. Make sure you have a 9 there. Number 8 was pretty straightforward. And then number 9, I underlined which operations had to be done and then the simplification underneath. As always, make sure you ask questions if you have any. And by all means, if you disagree with something I have done, come tell me.